We are finally actually seeing some real changes in the housing market in the Sarasota, Venice, Northport area.
And we're going to go over the data in this video.
And we're getting started right now.
If you're looking to buy or sell a home in the area, make sure to call, text, or email me. I am a local realtor. My information will be in the description box below.
We hear from people every day and we absolutely love it. Let's get started.
The Venice housing market is still somewhat competitive according to Redfin and according to us.
Yeah, our real life experience.
Yes.
Yeah, as you can see though, I mean, prices are flattening out / slightly dipping at the moment. We'll see how this continues. Maybe it goes down as time goes on. Maybe it stays flat. It really, our guess is that if it does go down, it won't be dramatic. But I mean, we're starting to see that if something's going to happen, we're going to know pretty clearly within the next month or two, I think.
So as you can see, the median sale price was $496,000 in August 2022 and up 22.4 year over year.
And one thing I want to mention real quick is we hear from a lot of people that it's overpriced here and whatnot. And for someone that grew up in the Venice area, I feel like, yes, you're kind of used to the prices being what they were. However, when we first moved 2 years before prices blew up, it felt like an amazing value, for like the quality of life, the low crime, the quality of the city, well maintained. It almost felt underpriced, and being in a beach town for that matter. Now to us, I feel like it's still a pretty good value, but it's a little bit more like accurate of the kind of city that you're getting for your price.
Yes, I would say we're priced pretty appropriately for the location we're in. So let's compare that to Sarasota.
Sarasota, a little bit of a different story. So, maybe that's an indicator of what we could expect to see happen in Venice, but you can see there's a pretty noticeable dip finally happening in some prices, down to $460K for the median sale price, which is crazy because that's actually less than Venice.
Yes.
So Sarasota generally is going to be the more expensive city to live in. Obviously, a lot more housing data to pull from as well. So, that's going to be a pretty, I think, accurate number because of the size of the city and the amount of homes that are going into that average.
Yeah, and these are single family homes. We didn't mention for Venice. Condos would be
down, but then back up.
Back up, yeah.
But overall down from about, a couple months ago.
Yeah, and then Sarasota condos.
Down as well.
Down as well, yes. Which it is, pretty consistent with what we are seeing here on the market, what's happening on the market.
And I think a lot of that comes down to you're not getting the bidding wars, and with interest rates going out, certain people are priced out. I don't necessarily think it's an indicator that asking prices are going down that much outside of the people that are getting a little too crazy. We'll talk about that in a little bit with some of the data, but yeah.
Yeah, and days on market as well. I think that's pretty important to mention. In Northport, surprisingly, are we surprised?
Semi-surprised?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Home prices were actually up 21.9% compared to last year and 23.9% year over year. The median sale price was $385.
But down from last month. So again, if you look at the end of the graph here, July versus August. However, keep in mind with some of these numbers, typically, especially in this area, August, September are going to be like the slow months because a lot of people, if they're going to move to Florida or move to a new city, they're going to want to do that before the school year starts, not right when it's starting. So take some of these numbers with the sale prices with a grain of salt. However, this is a good time of year where maybe it will help build a little inventory too, since less people are looking to buy something. But impressive, I guess you could say, or relieving, surprising that prices are finally showing a little bit of
a dip. Yeah.
We'll see how long it lasts. If it continues to go down, if it levels out, I guess we'll see. Again, a month or two, I think we'll have a very good idea of what that trend is gonna look like.
Yes, at this time, things are kind of like in limbo. They're staying pretty flat. Nothing's really happening. So we'll see in the next month if that changes a little bit or not.
Yeah.
For condos and townhouses, there is no data on Redfin, and that's mainly because we think anyway, it's because there is not a lot of condos in the Northport area. That would probably be the main reason.
Yeah, there's some, but there's not a lot. So that's probably not enough to make an actual average, or maybe there wasn't even any sold in the last month. I don't know. And now let's talk homes sold. So 36 for Venice housing market. I would imagine they're defining that as just maybe like the main city Venice designated area. So a smaller area to pull from. But still, 36 is not a very high number. And then as far as total numbers of homes sold, this includes condos, everything, houses, you name it. 136 in Venice, which is down from a little bit ago. That number I feel like is always really hard to say how much you can put into it because there's so many factors that go into it. It's how many houses are becoming available,
Yes.
how many houses are people actually wanting to buy, maybe they're staying put. So there's a lot of factors that can affect the amount of homes sold. To me, I don't know, that data point only tells you so much.
Yeah.
With conjunction of other factors, it helps a little more.
The total of homes sold in Sarasota was 275.
Down a little bit.
Down, yeah, a little bit year over year.
Wish I would show you the actual number here. It's closer to 400 2 months ago in June. Down from a couple of months ago. I mean, a couple of months ago, it looks like it was closer to 400 in June. July went down. August is still down. Again, that could just be, people going back to school, how many houses are available, people getting priced on the market. Again, I feel like that number is a helpful data point, but it's got to be taken into consideration with everything. So it's really hard to make too much from it. Northport, we're looking at 232 homes sold, down from a couple months ago, up from last month. So,
and 7.9% year over year, which I feel like that's pretty low.
Yeah, definitely. That's down. So, I think for sure a factor is right now interest rates going up and people are getting priced out of the market, plus people going back to school. Again, a couple months from now, month from now, maybe even we'll have a better idea of what all that means.
And typically summer, it's slower in real estate transactions in Florida, compared to like the rest of the US, like especially Midwest. Summer, it's the hot market because everyone's looking to move during the summer. And winter, it's kind of like dead because no one really wants to buy and move in winter. Here is the opposite. Yeah. It's kind of warm. People are enjoying, their summers back home. So it's kind of like our dead season here, and then winter, that's when all the real estate transactions really happen.
Yeah, our hot season for the market anyway is probably more October-ish,
yeah,
all the way through, I'd say like June.
Maybe beginning of June, I would say.
And even then, there's a decent amount of activity in June and July, and then for sure August, September. Those are like you can rely on them being dead.
Yes.
So back to Venice, median days on market. This is one I think that's a good telling factor, and that is on the rise 2 months in a row now.
Oh.
Maybe even kind of 3, but you can see it's starting to curve up a little more dramatically.
15 days on the market. I mean, that seems like a lot because we were used to within a couple hours homes were selling. Yeah. But 15 days on the market, it's really not a lot. Homes in a typical market will take 30 to 60 days to sell. So they're still selling quickly, not as quickly as they were before, obviously. But
a good indicator for buyers, which, a lot of people, we've had conversations with, you probably love it that the market's so expensive. Like, no, we don't. Because we get a lot of people watching the videos that want to buy a home here and they feel like it's overpriced or whatever the case may be, or they're waiting for something to happen with the market. So, that's a good indicator. We would rather a more balanced market be in existence.
And 15 days on market, that also gives you a little more time to make your decision and find a home that's, suitable to you.
Sarasota, wow. Look at that line. 21 days on market, so more than Venice. But look at this line. All of a sudden, this last month, August from September, from July, that shot up pretty significantly. Yeah. So maybe we're going to be seeing bigger changes there. There's definitely some stark differences overall so far in the data, though, from Sarasota to Venice.
Yes.
Northport.
14 days, wow.
Pretty similar to Venice. And up a little more gradually, kind of like Venice.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to see how Sarasota's getting these bigger changes, and Northport and Venice are kind of a little more of a gradual.
I think pricing might have to do something with that.
Yeah, probably, especially when you incorporate higher interest rates.
And,
I think a lot of the people that were gonna buy that are cash buyers probably bought during the last 2 months of the pandemic and things like that.
Yes, there is a lot less competition with cash buyers. Still a lot of cash transactions, but there's a lot less competition.
So let's take a look at sale to list price ratio for all 3 areas. And this should give us a good indicator of where things are going too. That's for all home types, Okay. Down a little bit. And single family homes in Venice. If places are selling lower than the list price, people are pricing their places too much.
Yeah, and unfortunately we did see that quite within the last month, I would say, maybe 2 months. Many sellers were pricing their homes even above what the home was valued at. So yeah, that was a little bit of a problem. So we did see a lot of those homes staying on the market, which some of them are still on the market, but that's where the price reductions also come from, because they were overpriced to begin.
Yeah, I don't think it's one of those situations where it was like priced pretty fairly and now people think,
Yeah.
so don't necessarily go as I'm going to go get a deal.
Yeah.
You might get a deal on a place that was overpriced, I think is a little more of what's happening right now. Not to say that that couldn't happen in the future, that you maybe do get an actual deal, but now you just get what you probably should have paid for the place. Let's look at Sarasota, same thing. And actually a pretty big, I think that's a bigger dip than Venice. Yeah, it's a little further below that 100% mark. Wish it would show you the actual percentage there, but yeah.
Well, for the month, it's 97.1%, and Venice is 98.4%.
And Northport?
98.9%.
So I was going to say a little less noticeable, but still. So a little less people getting crazy with the asking prices.
So that's great if you're a buyer.
Homes sold above list price for Venice, 20%, but that is crazy down.
Yeah.
From like what it was.
That's higher than what I would have thought.
You thought it would have been closer to zero. I mean, we're definitely trending that way right now. But apparently people are still going a little bit crazy, but it's less common. So again, that's an indicator, a little less bidding wars going on, which is something we've been noticing on the ground level. This data just kind of confirms a lot of what we tell you we're seeing.
Yes, but good thing you mentioned that, because we just wanted to show you the data so that you don't think that we're just telling you things. We're telling you what we see, but here's the data as well. Yeah.
A little bit more selling over list price in Sarasota. So everything else there looks like it's like, okay, but the market's getting more balanced than that. No, I don't know. But I could see that because Sarasota has more of those like homes in certain neighborhoods and things like that. I gotta have that house. There's not gonna be another one like it. So there's probably a little bit more opportunity for that.
That's why Sarasota too, it's in Venice, in Venice too, it's difficult to say what's gonna happen, just because there are certain homes in certain neighborhoods that they hit the market and they're going to sell. It doesn't matter what the price is. Like, people that really want to be in that neighborhood, they're going to purchase that home. And some homes will sit longer on the market because those are the homes that maybe people don't really want or don't need.
And before we jump into the Northport of this stat, I got a feeling we're going to see less of that. You know, there's not as much of the like, oh, I got to be in this neighborhood, because a lot of it is very similar looking. So let's see if we're right on that. 23%. Oh, I was wrong. It's actually more. But you know why? We never when we think Northport, we always think Northport.
Oh, yeah. Welland Park. Yeah.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
That's more of like, okay, I got to have that house in that neighborhood. But that, again, pretty significant drop.
Yeah, so this does include Welland Park. It skews the results a little bit.
Yeah. So if you're not from the area, Welland Park is technically part of Northport, but Northport and Welland Park are very, very different feeling city. Welland Park is a master plan new community, almost like a new Lakewood Ranch type thing. And it has a very different vibe. It's all new construction, all planned communities, whereas most of Northport is just kind of rural feeling, lots of empty vacant lots, land to buy, newer homes, newer construction, much like Welland Park, but the feel is very, very, very different.
Yeah, Welland Park, it's a master planned community. Northport, it's more country.
Yeah.
Homes with price drops, 35.4%, up 5.7 year over year.
That's an interesting stat in conjunction with homes sold above list price. And, because there's still about 20%-ish selling over list price. However, there's also a lot with price drops.
Yes.
So those kind of two things are showing you that we are starting to balance out a little more. It's very weird that it's a little bit of both.
Sarasota, 42.6%.
So that's quite a bit.
Yeah, that's up 12.7 year over year.
And I mean, that has been up really for the last 5-6 months, it looks like. But it looks like that kind of peaked in July, and it's still going up a little yet in August. I guess we'll see what happens from here going on out. But that's a pretty big number, 42% of houses with a price drop. When you compare that to Venice, I mean, that went up to above 40 in July, but now we're back down.
Down, yeah.
And then Northport, 43%. I think a lot of that, again, it's probably actual Northport, but also Welland Park, I think, has a big part to do with that.
Yeah. Some homes in Welland Park were listed a little higher than they should have been, and the data shows that as well. And some homes in Northport too, but I do feel that Welland Park, it's skewing our results here quite a bit.
But I mean, all three of these markets, 43% for Northport, 42 for Sarasota, and 35 for Venice, which I feel like Venice is probably still valued pretty well considering everything you get with the beach and everything. But all three of them shows that there is a little bit more of a room for negotiation or a balance, you know, / people are asking too much for their house.
Which, if they're asking too much for their houses, if you're a buyer, it's a good thing for you, because now that house will sit a little bit longer on the market. And typically when homes sit a little longer on the market, they will have a price drop. And if there is a price drop, you know, you can get a good deal, or at least what you should have paid for the home to begin with.
A fair price, basically.
Yes.
If you're looking to buy or sell a home in the area,
make sure to call, text, or email us. I am a local realtor here. My information will be in the description box below.
We hear from you guys all the time, and we love it. If you found the video helpful, definitely leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts on what the market's looking like. Subscribe, turn on all notifications, hit that like button, and live breezy.